I mentioned earlier the mortgage crisis. We just left Marshall County. For those of you who are not familiar, Marshall County is immediately north of here, Holly Springs. As we walked up to the courthouse, I pointed out to our campaign manager, Joel Coon, who's here with us. I said, look in this big glass case. It was so full of foreclosure notices that you couldn't have put another one in there. They were stacked over each other. They were just doubled up in there. There were so many. If you'd been trying to read them, you'd have to go in there and separate them. And that's a rural county in North Mississippi. Even John McCain said to Meet the Press not too long ago, this Congress was spending money like drunken sailors. And they have been spending money like drunken sailors. They've been spending so much money that the national debt of this country is $9 trillion. Every one of us in this room, even little Gracie, owes $30,000 today. That's a shame that those people have spent that child owing $30,000. And it's not going to happen if I can get to Washington. And on balancing budgets, as Chancery Clerk, I don't have the luxury of Prentiss County of writing a check and just buying things and spending money recklessly. We have to balance our budget. If we spend the money, we have to have it, or we have to know it's coming in within the year. As Chancery Clerk, I've balanced 16 budgets. I think I can help do my part in Washington to balance our budget there. Tammy and I have been married 27 years. I'm not sure if I told you that. Our two children, Lauren and Dustin, I don't let them embarrass Lauren if I brag on them, but I do want to brag on them. We've worked hard so our children would have opportunity, just as many of your parents have, so you would have that opportunity. And please take advantage of it. You know, a lot of times people want to give me flack about being a Democrat. You know, and I often say this, and I say this with pride. I'm a Mississippi Democrat. I'm a conservative Democrat who's balanced budgets, who's managed money, who's met a payroll, and I don't apologize for being a Mississippi Democrat. Also, I do hope to get to Washington. I want to tell you that my core values and my core beliefs won't change when I get to Washington. Just being up there and surrounded by all that, I don't want to use the word glamour, but all of that, it will not change me. It will not change me, and I commit that to you today. Also, I guess one of, and I'll close, one of the final things that I've noticed, and folks, I know you've all noticed, no one in Washington wants to work together anymore. You know, all the Republicans say, well, you know, if it's a Democrat idea, it's a bad idea. And then the Democrats want to say, well, if it's a Democrat idea, if it's a Republican idea, it's not a good idea. Well, we got to quit that. Somebody has to step up, and I'm willing to be one of those people. I'm willing to step up, and I'm willing to be one of those that say, I will rise above this partisan bickering so we can get stuff done. And they're just getting nothing done. And they, each other, both parties, everybody's blaming somebody else, and they're all responsible. You know, it's easy to blame somebody else, but they all need to step up and take their share. Also, this primary is March 11th. On March 11th, when you go in to vote, you will be asked to declare if you want to vote in the Republican primary or the Democratic primary. I hope those of you who can will support me in the Democratic primary. One does have to have a majority of the vote. One has to have 50% plus one. We are working hard. We've been in, just today, we started out early this morning, left Boonville before 7 o'clock. We went to Hernando up in DeSoto County. We went down to Grenada in Grenada County. We came back up to Holly Springs in Marshall County. We went over to Ashland in Benton County. We're back in Lafayette County and Oxford, the home of Ole Miss tonight. And I'm proud to close my day out here. After March 11, there will be a special election, and many people are, if they ask you about this, because there's a little confusion about it, quite frankly. The special election will, in fact, be after the primary. There's no question about that. The date is still uncertain. That all lies in the hands of Governor Barker when he decides to set it. We expect it to be around mid-April. That's what we really expect. I expect we will see only those enter this special election, those who prevail in the March primary on the 11th. I plan to be that person on the Democratic side. I plan to be the Democratic nominee the night of March 11th. I hope I have 50% plus one so I don't have a runoff, because if I do, the runoff is April 1st. That's 3 weeks of great expense. I'd love to spend that 3 weeks trying to win the special election rather than a runoff. If whoever wins the special election will immediately go to Congress as our representative in Washington. And that Democratic nominee will also be on the ticket in November. This could be a series of elections. I need your help today. I need your help March 11th. I need your help in the special election. I plan on being the Democratic nominee in November, and I plan on winning. And I plan to bring some just common sense back to Washington, D.C. Because so many times, and all of you seen this, we elect people who go up there, and 2 years later, you don't even know them. You don't even recognize them. I promise you, if you send me to Washington, D.C., when I come back in 2 years and address you at this very courthouse, I'll be the same person. Thank you. I appreciate all of you. We had a great day in Boonville yesterday. We had our kickoff, and we had a couple of hundred people there. Joey was there, and at least were you there? Yeah.
How
No.
did it play?
No,